So let's get to testing the form's errors. We want to make sure that we're testing and encountering everything that someone might encounter when they fill out our form, and that we're making sure and double checking that everything is done right. You're going to just submit your form. You want to make sure that you know there's going to be an error, at least one. I would fill out at least one of the fields, because the first thing that you should check for is making sure that any information that you previously entered, even if it was invalid, it should still be there. So by filling out one of those fields, it lets you at least double check that all of the information that somebody has previously typed in does not disappear. Focus should move to the first field with an error. So if you have a few different required fields and you've filled in the first required field, but you've left the second one blank, and that's the first field with an error, your cursor should now be on that field. If you have included an error summary as well, the focus should move to that error summary. And then when you have an error message for those incorrect fields, you're going to include that message under each of those incorrect fields. And that message should be specific to the field and provide suggestions for how to fix the error. And we'll go over some examples of what that looks like in a minute. And then the errors should remain there until they've been fixed. You don't want a timer, you don't want them to disappear, and they shouldn't go away when someone starts typing. Sometimes these form solutions will give you the option to validate one of these fields after you've moved on to the next field. So whether you're tabbing or clicking away from a field, it'll sort of validate with some JavaScript and then show an error or not. This is very hard to get right, and it can often be frustrating. So just use caution with that, and we'll go into some of the pros and cons of that in a bit as well. Your submit button should not be disabled at any point, even if there are errors. You always want to allow someone to be able to submit the form. So when you've inserted some values into some of the inputs, but you still have errors, you should still be able to click that submit button. And then if possible, include the error notification in the page title, that text that shows up in the tab of the browser. That's not always an option with some of these form plugins, but if you can, that would be really helpful to let someone know, errors with your forms kind of, inside that page title. And if you have more than a few fields with the various requirements, that's going to be when you want to use those error summaries.